the stylist, I mean, the costume designer on Gossip Girl. But anyone who works with me,
I love this.
it's like drinking through a fire hose. You're like, wow, I come in and I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. But it's just because I really, I find that fashion is storytelling. It's a way to message so much more than you can with words sometimes. It's a silent way to message things. So the way that I come into a character is always through the fashion and through the costumes. So
saw in another interview you said that Ryan, actually your husband Ryan Reynolds, wrote part of that rooftop scene. Is that true?
Yeah, that's, I mean, I would have to compare it to the original one, but that's 99% his. Yeah, he just added, I mean, Chrissy Hall wrote an incredible screenplay. It was, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this film. But also, there are natural tweaks and modifications that come in when the actor is hired and you're trying to infuse your own personality and your own authenticity. And it's like, women are people of multitudes. And, I think that it was important to me that it didn't just feel like someone's interpretation of like female gaze. Like it really was, this is what we like, this is what we listen to, this is what makes us feel these vibes. And we had an incredible music supervisor, Season Kent, and one of our editors, Shane Reed, who, fun fact, he was my editor on Taylor's music video that I directed. And I was obsessed with him. And I was like, this guy is amazing. And he never edited a movie before. He just finished Deadpool and Wolverine, and he came on and helped us with this one. And he has incredible taste in music. And we share the same composer as well from Deadpool and Wolverine. So there's a lot of sharing.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, once Hollywood's golden couple, are now facing a potential career catastrophe. A staggering $400 million federal lawsuit hangs over them, and today, the judge's ruling was not in their favor. Lively's downfall began with her miscalculated promotion of It Ends With Us. Instead of recognizing the film's heavy themes of domestic abuse, she marketed it as a fun, feel-good girls' night-out movie. Fans were outraged, accusing her of being tone-deaf to the novel's gut-wrenching story. Rather than addressing the backlash, she made things worse, using the controversy as an opportunity to promote her hair care line, alcohol brand, and designer jeans. Now, the situation has spiraled into two major lawsuits. Lively is suing director Justin Baldoni and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, claiming she endured a toxic and hostile work environment. She alleges serious misconduct and inappropriate behavior on set. But the drama doesn't stop there. She also claims Baldoni's team retaliated by launching a smear campaign to destroy her reputation. Tensions hit a breaking point when the New York Times published an exposé painting Baldoni as the villain in this Hollywood war. The fallout was immediate. He lost his agent at WME, was dropped from his podcast, and saw major film deals disappear overnight. His once promising career now hangs by a thread, with high-stakes lawsuits flying and reputations crumbling on both sides. The battle between Lively and Baldoni is far from over. The question remains, who will come out on top?
To be honest, what really happened is we were like, we're gonna show the movie, and the studio was like, no, you're gonna show 20 minutes. So we're like, no, we're gonna show the movie. And they're like, it's not done. And I was like, shoot. They're like, if everything's not perfect and it's not done, and what if we're gonna change things? I was like, we want it to go. I literally brought the movie with me on the airplane. Like I have like a folder with like a disc, like a hard drive.
Blake Lively is suing Justin Baldoni for a staggering $250 million, accusing him of orchestrating a full-scale smear campaign to destroy her career. But Baldoni isn't backing down. He's fighting back hard, denying all allegations of defamation, misconduct, or any attempt to sabotage Lively. Instead, he claims that Lively is the one playing dirty, using these accusations as a strategic power move to take control of his movie rights. According to Baldoni, this lawsuit isn't about justice, it's about power. He alleges that Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, colluded to seize the rights to It Starts With Us, the highly anticipated sequel to It Ends With Us. Their goal? Total creative control over the franchise, with Baldoni seen as nothing more than an obstacle in their way. The courtroom battle is heating up fast. The latest dispute? A gag order. Lively wants to silence Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, accusing him of publicly defaming her and dragging the case through the media. But Friedman is refusing to back down, arguing that he had no choice but to respond publicly, especially after Lively allegedly leaked confidential legal documents to the New York Times. That December article was a bombshell, leading to devastating consequences for Baldoni. His agent at WME dropped him, his podcast was canceled, and his business empire took a major hit, leaving his career in ruins. Now, the public is divided. Lively's supporters insist that no woman should have to endure a toxic work environment. Meanwhile, Baldoni's camp argues that he's the real victim, blindsided by a scandal that has shattered everything he built, and just when it seemed things couldn't get any messier, Baldoni's powerhouse attorney, Brian Friedman, made a bold move. Over the weekend, he launched a website filled with explosive evidence, timelines, text messages, emails, videos, and legal documents, all pointing to one shocking claim. Blake Lively allegedly fabricated misconduct allegations as a tactic to take over It Ends With Us. Even more damning, the evidence suggests that whenever Lively didn't get her way, she escalated her accusations against Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and co-producer Jamie Heath. This legal war is far from over, and the fallout is only just beginning. Blake Lively herself admitted that all alleged misconduct on set stopped once filming resumed in 2024. But now, she's shifting the blame again, claiming that the intense backlash she faced during the film's promotional run, after making careless, tone-deaf remarks about domestic violence, is somehow Justin Baldoni's fault. The allegations against Lively are brutal. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, has laid out a damning timeline suggesting that she played the long game, strategically leveraging accusations to gain control of the film and push Baldoni and his team out. And when she faced public criticism for her own marketing missteps, she allegedly turned the narrative back onto him. Not everyone is buying her story. Many believe this isn't about justice, it's about Lively's refusal to be told no. The word being thrown around? Narcissistic. Some say this is classic retaliation. When things don't go her way, she doubles down. And today, in federal court, things did not go her way. The pretrial conference was centered on Lively's team pushing for a gag order, arguing that Friedman was orchestrating a public smear campaign by leaking documents, videos, and other damning receipts. But in federal court, gag orders are nearly impossible to get. The press has a right to access public records, and judges rarely grant such requests. As expected, the gag order was denied. That didn't stop both sides from fiercely arguing why this legal war needed to be silenced. But let's be real, while Lively may be facing public backlash, her Hollywood status still gives her a safety net. Will she struggle to book new roles? Maybe. But compared to what Baldoni has lost, it's not even close. His career, his projects, and his entire reputation are all hanging by a thread because of this lawsuit. And in court today, it was brutal. Federal judges don't mess around, and both sides laid out just how much they've suffered. Friedman came in swinging, stating that his client has lost hundreds of millions due to what Lively allegedly did. He even accused her of colluding with the New York Times to publish a one-sided, fabricated story that destroyed Baldoni's career. With tensions rising and no clear resolution in sight, this legal battle is only getting uglier, and it's far from over. Blake Lively's alleged scheme to take over It Ends With Us is crumbling fast as damning evidence piles up. Court filings include receipts that contradict nearly everything she's claimed, and then there's the video proof, her own interviews, where she repeatedly slips up, practically exposing herself. Things get even wilder when you consider Lively's own admissions. On multiple podcasts, she openly stated that she took over the editing, writing, wardrobe, and marketing of It Ends With Us, even though it was Baldoni's film. She stepped in at the last second and claimed it as her own, while Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios were pushed aside. At this point, proving she didn't do exactly what she's being accused of is going to be nearly impossible. The courtroom battle is just heating up, and it's about to get uglier. Judge Louis Lyman made one thing clear today: there will be no gag order. Lively's legal team pushed hard to silence Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, but the judge flat out refused. The only concession? A reminder that Friedman must follow federal civil conduct rules for attorneys. Other than that, no restrictions. And here's where it gets even more interesting: the trial date might be moved up. If this legal war continues to escalate, the judge is willing to fast-track the trial from March 2026 to an earlier date, meaning Lively and Baldoni could face off in court much sooner than expected. But the fights don't stop there. Lively is now trying to avoid being deposed by Friedman, claiming she doesn't feel comfortable being questioned by a lawyer who, she alleges, has defamed her. The problem? That's not how federal court works. The judge quickly reminded Lively's team that if she wants to fight this case, she doesn't get to call the shots. Blake Lively just took another major legal hit. Not only was her request for a gag order denied, but Brian Friedman is still allowed to depose her, no exceptions. While Lively may be playing offense as the plaintiff, she's also a co-defendant in the cross-complaint, meaning Justin Baldoni's legal team calls the shots on who questions her. Bottom line? This was not a good day for Blake. What's unfolding is starting to feel like a real-life David versus Goliath. Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios, a smaller, lower-budget production company, are taking on Hollywood power players, and many believe Lively and her team have been bullying their way through this case to get what they want. Now, let's get something straight. I usually support believing women, but in this case, there are women on the other side of this lawsuit whose accounts seem even more credible. The reality is not every woman tells the truth, and not every man is the villain. Lively's trail of contradictions and inconsistencies is just too easy to track, and here's the biggest bombshell. There's actual footage of Lively admitting on a podcast that she took over the production of It Ends With Us. She was never hired as a writer, editor, producer, or director, just an actress with a Vanity executive producer credit. But that didn't stop her. According to Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios, she stormed in, took control, made unauthorized changes, and positioned herself as the one running the show. Now, there's video proof of her saying exactly that. This legal battle is no longer just messy, it's explosive. If the evidence continues to pile up, Lively could have a serious problem on her hands. She even admitted to rewriting scenes, taking over wardrobe decisions, and acting as if she owned the production. Lively described it as drinking from a fire hose, but in reality, she was drowning everyone else out. And let's not forget the wardrobe fiasco. The studio had already made decisions, but Lively disregarded them and imposed her own vision, with the case unraveling at full speed. One thing is clear, Lively's legal strategy is looking shakier by the day. Blake Lively's power moves on It Ends With Us may have just backfired in a major way. The studio had already purchased an entire wardrobe for her character, Lily, but Lively scrapped it, brought in her own stylist, and ran the budget up by an extra $500,000. That's $500,000 blown, all because she insisted on her own vision, and it didn't stop there. Lively personally handpicked a composer, replaced the film's editors, and, in a shocking twist, put someone in charge of editing who had never worked on a movie before. His biggest credit? A Taylor Swift music video. Yet somehow, she trusted him to handle a major Hollywood production. But the biggest bombshell? She literally stole the movie. Lively took an unauthorized rough cut of the film and brought it to Colleen Hoover's book Bonanza, a massive book event where fans could have easily leaked footage online. Studios have strict distribution agreements for a reason. Leaking early cuts can ruin a film before its release, trigger piracy, and derail box office success. But did Lively care? Nope. She ignored warnings from Sony and Wayfarer Studios, smuggled the footage onto a plane, and showed it anyway. This wasn't an accident, it was a power move. And now, she wants the public to believe she was powerless, that Justin Baldoni was controlling everything. But let's be real, how was she powerless when she literally had his name removed from promotional posters? The receipts are undeniable. Instead of walking the red carpet like every other director, Baldoni was banished, relegated to the basement while Lively took center stage. He wasn't allowed to do major press, wasn't part of key promotions, and was even forced to leave the red carpet before Lively arrived. But the most damning revelation? A forced apology that Lively allegedly tried to make Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios release, just to clean up her own PR disaster. Lively wasn't drowning in backlash because of a smear campaign. She was drowning because of her own bad decisions. Blake Lively heavily promoted her alcohol brand, hair care line, and designer jeans, all while discussing a movie centered on domestic violence. The public quickly called her out for being tone deaf, but instead of owning the backlash, she allegedly wanted Justin Baldoni and his team to take the fall, and the receipts? They're in federal court. Filed on August 12, 2024, the evidence reportedly includes a prepared statement that Lively and Ryan Reynolds allegedly sent to Baldoni's team. The statement read, "It Ends With Us was a troubled production, which we take full accountability for. We are very sorry to everyone we caused upset to, privately and publicly. Blake Lively, Colleen Hoover, and the entire cast and crew led with professionalism every step of the way, and any negativity aimed at them is ours to own." In other words, Lively allegedly pressured Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios to take the blame for the film's issues and her own PR missteps. This isn't speculation, it's in court filings. She reportedly tried to manipulate the narrative, shifting responsibility for the backlash she faced online, in interviews, and during public appearances. It's clear, this isn't just a lawsuit, it's Hollywood warfare. Lively and her team allegedly pushed Wayfarer Studios and Baldoni to release a carefully worded statement, one that would absolve her while making it seem like Baldoni's team was admitting fault. Another part of the statement they were allegedly asked to approve said, "We have always said we are not perfect, and even if we unintentionally make mistakes, we will always own them. We hold ourselves accountable. It's not anyone's job but ours, and that's part of being man enough. We will practice what we preached." Lively's alleged attempts to shift blame are now under legal scrutiny, and with mounting evidence in federal court, the fallout is far from over. Blake Lively's PR nightmare just went from bad to worse, and this time, there's no one left to take the fault. It all started when Lively's reckless Instagram antics and tone-deaf interviews completely derailed the film's marketing campaign. The backlash was swift and relentless. But instead of taking accountability, she allegedly tried to shift the blame onto Justin Baldoni and Wayfarer Studios. According to reports, Lively pushed for a public statement that would pin the entire PR disaster on Baldoni. But he and Wayfarer refused to play along. They didn't cave, and as a result, her backlash didn't disappear, it only intensified. Then came the shocking twist. Allegations surfaced that Lively had been working with the New York Times as early as October to craft a smear campaign against Baldoni. The metadata doesn't lie. The supposed plan? Ensure he took the fall. But when that strategy failed, and when Baldoni and Wayfarer refused to sell the movie rights or bow to her demands, Lively and Ryan Reynolds hit them with a lawsuit. But here's where it backfires. Many believe this lawsuit was nothing more than a preemptive strike, a calculated move to get ahead of the lawsuit Baldoni was preparing against them. Instead of defending, they attacked, trying to flip the script before the truth came out. Now, with mounting evidence against her, Lively's case is crumbling. Hollywood doesn't forget scandals of this magnitude. The level of manipulation, deception, and career sabotage at play here could mark the end of her reign. Meanwhile, Baldoni just walked out of that courtroom with a WINSO. Is this the final nail in Blake Lively's career? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This legal battle is only getting started.